truth, man.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! That is by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into more important issues. It is Sunday, May 5th. Tony Vitello? Gator killer?
Some would say. I'm all in for Tony Vitello going with us as Swamp in every sport.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, he gets the invite. Permanent invite, exemption, if you will. Fun one. You can't complain what's happened this weekend. Big weekend for Vol sports. Exciting one. I'll go ahead and knock this one out. I was going to mention it later, but the Lady Vols clinched the SEC championship. I believe it was on Friday when they clinched it. Mm-hmm. Big time, everything school, softball school, but also everything school.
Back to back, right?
Yeah, it's good to see that NIL isn't killing Karen Weekly over there. You know, she's not just getting crushed by the Tennessee's lack of support. She just goes and wins and doesn't complain about it.
Yep.
Karen Weekly's him.
Okay.
No, I mean, obviously, Karen and Ralph have built a juggernaut down at Sherry Parker Lee, and she's continuing that by herself as well. It's a good softball team, and then it's always good to win championships just to say you did.
Hang the banner.
Why not? Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Be some more regionals, super regionals down here in Knoxville. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few more too. We'll see.
Yeah, let's just continue to host everything. Let's just make campus as crazy as possible all the time.
Yeah. You think parking's bad now? You just wait, is what they say.
Yeah, just wait a few more weeks and then try to get on campus on the weekend, see if that works for you.
Bingo.
Good thing is, like, during that time frame, the students are usually gone.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out that way, but
You saying you hate students?
no.
Okay.
Love Joey.
Just want to clarify.
I don't love the lack of parking.
Yeah, of course. And then softball is usually a little bit before baseball, so it's not like they'll be like same weekend type deal. So
yeah,
that's the good news.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I love seeing championships, rings, all that good stuff. I was thinking about, because you saw that insane graphic that got tweeted out. I mean, there were a few. Did you see that coaching duos?
Uh-uh.
It was like the best coaching duos in the SEC. Lane Kiffin and Chris Beard were on there, notable for many reasons. Yeah, I believe the most egregious one would be Sam Pittman and John Calipari. Sam Pittman, yeah.
And John Calipari, who is taking over the worst team.
Who hasn't coached a game there yet.
I guess second worst, I guess. Missouri was.
Yeah. Kalen DeBoer was on that list as well. Hasn't coached a game there.
Mm. Him and Nate Oates.
Bruce Pearl and Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze has been not even close to successful at Ole Miss.
Auburn.
Auburn, sorry.
Yeah.
He was successful at Ole Miss. I'll give him that credit. Auburn, not successful.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's by Ole Miss's standards, by the way, not in anybody else's, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, we would have taken some of those seasons, namely beating Alabama, but not impressive by any means.
Did they? Was it just basketball and football coaches, or was it?
Yeah, it was those best duos was how it was titled.
So LSU is not on that list, right?
No, LSU was not.
Was Shane Beamer on there?
No.
Okay. I feel like him not making a bowl game this year and South Carolina not being good, I would not think so, but
right. I wonder. I don't think he's in. We don't get into that. We'll get into that.
Just give Shane Beamer.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Notably missing was Kentucky's. Yeah. Golly, I mean, Kentucky would have been number 1 last year then, though, right? According to that list.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
wow.
Mark Squared at Kentucky, not on the list. Tough to see.
Deadly. We'll get into this episode. We're gonna talk a little football, get into some baseball here, and then get you guys out of here so you can go celebrate Cinco de Mayo in proper fashion. Before I do that, I'm going to tell you guys about some of our good friends. That's Grade A Grounds. Grade A Grounds, they're a local coffee roasting company in Kingsport, Tennessee, owned and operated by Billy and Kurt, both who are educators in the Johnson City area. Being educators, they want to support their local community and their students. Their main goal is they're going to give back to the students in those areas by donating 5% of all their sales to a nonprofit organization that supports students all over the Tri-Cities area. That's Coalition for Kids. Great coffee. When you purchase that great coffee, 5% of those sales are going back into the classrooms in the Johnson City, Kingsport area. Let's make them big, and let's include that in all areas. Let's just go all areas. Let's cover every square inch of this earth. We're giving money to oceans at some level, at some point. Coffee, you should be. You should be drinking Grade A Grounds coffee if you're drinking coffee
nationwide. Yeah.
Starbucks messed up my order twice this weekend. Don't go to Starbucks. Drink Grade A Grounds. I regretted going there immediately after. I said I had Grade A Grounds at the house. Should have drank it. Never again, guys. Make sure you go check them out. You're gonna get to see some of the talent, the artistic talent of these students as well, and their handmade labels for each individual bag. So make sure you go do that today. Promo code GOVOLS. Don't make the mistakes I made this weekend. We got to learn from them, live with them, never do it again. Grade A Grounds Coffee. Go check them out.
Do it. All right. A little bit of football talk. Just because why not? You know,
why not?
It's a year-round sport, so you know we're going to talk about it, and I guess just talk about the strengths of this team coming up, or I guess what we think the strengths should or will be
right
this upcoming season. So,
hey, hold on. Can we? I gotta indict this coaching staff real quick. 2 indictments.
Okay.
We couldn't get Baby Gronk a power T to put on his top 30 list.
I think we paid not to be on that list.
Well, we were on it. Just like I think that's what's worse is I was like, heck yeah, we're not on that list. That's awesome. And then someone pointed out that it was the Smokey logo, and I was like, golly, man. Did you scan over it too and miss the power D?
So Hayes Fawcett did not make that graphic.
Yes. Correct.
Gotcha. I think I have Baby Gronk muted.
Oh, come on. I haven't thought about it until it just popped up this weekend.
It's funny that you say that. There was a video that I saw today, and it was like Baby Gronk wanted to take on like the biggest 12-year-old football, and the 12-year-old looked like he played tight end for Tennessee.
Okay.
And they get down like they're going to do an Oklahoma drill, and Baby Gronk like gets up with the ball and just runs the opposite direction. And that was like the commercial.
Is that the new Oklahoma drill?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think
back in my day, we ran to the defender.
I needed to start off with that indictment of Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel can't recruit. I think that's pretty clear in that scenario. But yeah, we'll get into strengths here. I'll start off with the obvious one that I think we can just get out of the way. Your defensive line is going to be stout.
Yeah.
Number 1 in numbers. You've got depth there. If you filled out 1 and 2 down the line pretty well. Obviously, when you're talking James Pierce Jr. starting, like that's like you've got a stud, a guy that's projected to go number 1 overall right now.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But he's not the only one either. Just a really good rounded out defensive line. Factor that in with that's probably going to be the most well coached unit, you assume as well. It clearly should. I mean, I would love for someone to unseat them as the biggest strength, only because I have so much faith in Rodney Garner and the talent that's on this roster that I think that just means another unit got really good, but they're the clear strength right now.
Yeah, so many veterans that have played a lot of football at Tennessee, and then you mentioned the star power with James Pierce, who is one of the top defenders in all of college football. And they've just recruited really well at that position. You got guys that you saw a little bit that you expect to make a big jump, and Tyree West, David Hobbs, Joshua Josephs. You like what you've seen from him, Caleb Herring. There's just Tyree Weathersby is a guy who didn't get to play, but they were high on last year due to injury. So they just have a lot of guys, like you said, and then the talent to have that and to not really miss a beat when other guys are coming out. Like they switch out a lot. So having guys like Bryson Easton, Amari Thomas to go along with those young, talented interior defensive linemen, I think that's going to be huge for Tennessee this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm Tyree West or anyone that gets the opportunity to play opposite of James Pierce this year, I'm licking my chops, man. Yeah. Whoever's primary, and I know they rotate so many guys out that it probably won't be a primary, but if I'm playing opposite of him primarily, I'm visualizing what could be this season because I'm gonna get nothing but one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the snap count is, and I think it's going to be cool to see because I don't know who's opposite, like you said, but they're going to ride the hot hand. So, whoever can get out to a fast start, I feel like that's going to be their job, and have a Corey Vereen type season opposite of Derek Barnett, whether that's Tyree West or Joshua Josephs, Caleb Herring. There's a number of guys that you can kind of see at that position. Dominic Bailey's another one. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see just how that talent kind of unfolds at that defensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to see Joshua Josephs. Not that I would think he was bad last season by any means, and you didn't get to see him just a ton his freshman year, but he just felt like he felt more freakish his freshman year. Love to see get back to he felt like he just did a lot of things really well. And I don't know if maybe that's because when he came in, you identified him. You're like, that's a young dude on the field. That's a young buck. That's in a tough position. Then he made a play. So I don't know if that was expectations weren't as high or something. I don't know. But he obviously, he has the freak ability just in size and speed and the natural stuff. Just love to see him get back to that. I also you mentioned Amari Thomas. He's one of the more, I think he's just underrated by nature of position, and that's it. But everyone knows who he is. But his ability to not only plug holes in that interior line, but make plays, especially in the passing game as an interior lineman, is incredible. And maybe we don't know because sometimes he makes plays so soon in that passing game, but maybe clean some stuff up when guys aren't making it happen on the outside.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
Yeah. Another kind of talented aspect of this team is just what they've done from last season to this season. So the type of guys they've gotten, or, they weren't great at quarterback or as good as they wanted to be at quarterback. I think they get better at quarterback next year with Nico. When Brew McCoy went down, I think there was kind of an issue with the depth at receiver. You had to rely on young guys, and not saying they did a bad job, but I definitely think there was a drop off there. Whereas this year there's Mike Matthews, there's Braylon Staley, there's, Caleb Webb and Chaz Nimrod another year, Nathan Laycock another year. And then you add in Chris Brazel and Dante Thornton, him being healthy and Brew McCoy back. I just think that room is a lot different than it was last year. And I think that's only going to benefit a young quarterback. And then you have a offensive line where you basically return everybody you wanted back and then got a better tackle, which a tackle was something that Tennessee desperately needed, and they got that in Lance Hurd. And They got John Campbell back, got Cooper Mays back, got Javonte Spraggins. So just the way that they've kind of built this roster from the headaches of last year is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I kind of had all those units, the offensive units, like you note everything there. Quarterback, I like to think it's going to be a strength. You still have a lot of questions. There's no denying there's talent there. Let's see it pieced together in a 12-game season. Wide receiver, I've written down, it's a strength. You return Brew McCoy. What you lost with him last year was your go-to guy when things weren't going well, and he was a security blanket. He got open or he made plays in coverage. He was able to make plays after contact. He's just a kind of a massive, he was your horsepower. And when you lost that, it's not that you just got so much less talented, but you really lost someone that kind of drug everybody along, went through the mud. Getting him back is massive. I don't know if anyone could fill that void if the unexpected happens again, but you mentioned you add another season to those guys. You just hope in the case of emergency, maybe there is that guy. But there's no denying that a ton of those guys are talented, and then add back in that security blanket. That's a strength of this team for sure.
Yeah.
Often, do you want to say something about wide receiver? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just look at 2 years ago when Cedric Tillman got hurt.
Yeah.
There wasn't a huge drop off in the offense, even though he was such a good, talented player for Tennessee, because you had a guy like Ramel Keaton that could step up.
Yeah.
Whereas last year, I feel like there was a little bit of a panic button to get guys that probably weren't ready in the game and having to play a ton of snaps.
Well, and in that year, you found Cedric Tillman was kind of your bailout guy. I think you saw that at Pitt. Where are you looking when the play breaks down, or where are you looking when things have been difficult to move the ball? It was Cedric Tillman. You found that new guy in Brew McCoy.
Yeah.
As that season progressed, you never found that guy when Brew McCoy went down last year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there certainly was a drop off 22 to 23. But I don't think it was as massive as it seemed. I think you just missed the guy to get you out of ruts more than anything else. I think the Alabama game is drastically different if your passing game can just get through the mud in the third quarter. If
if you're not having a guy on the outside that's a huge threat, then all your attention is on that slot guy.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for Score White to get open. A good reason why Jalen Hyatt was open a lot. Number one, he's a really good wide receiver, and number one, the offense, and they spread you out and this and that. But a big part of that was Cedric Tillman and Brew McCoy.
Yep.
You couldn't just fall asleep on those two guys, or they'll make you pay.
Yeah.
It was truly balanced then, and I think it's going to be a lot similar to that year. I mean, is Jalen Hyatt on this roster? Maybe it's Mike Matthews at some point, but I think you like what you got. And Dante Thornton another year, it seems like he has found his role at outside receiver. I don't know why he was ever in the slot, but that is whatever. You had Chris Brazzell, Brew McCoy, like we said, healthy. Squirrel another year. And then you have some freshmen that hey, if you're not getting it done, we're right here, and we're more than capable of making plays ourselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then hitting on the offensive line, we've talked about this a little bit through the offseason. You obviously struggle with depth. I think the biggest thing though with this offensive line is in your first five, you have a ton of experience. There's a lot of guys that are going to be seasoned vets on that offensive line, mainly talking about your El Capitan and Cooper Mays. So I think that's parts of that offensive line, aspects of that offensive line is going to be a strength for you this year. There's some important things to keep it a strength for your offense, but I think overall you're looking at it and you're feeling comfortable as it stands right now, hoping everything kind of goes your way as the season goes along.
Yeah. I think another underrated part of this team is, I think, what what they've had to replace coaching wise.
Mhm.
Like they've all kind of, for the most part, they haven't had a ton of turnover in the assistant coaches. Now they did have probably more than they've had this past year with running backs coach and linebackers coach. William Inge comes in from Washington. You had Darrell Sims come in from Cincinnati, take over for God, what was his name?
Who are we talking about now? Which one? Sorry, which coach?
Running backs coach. That
Jerry
was here,
Mack.
Jerry Mack. Yeah, sorry. Couldn't think of it. He's no longer with us, so I guess I just
You're
crossed you off
sight
my
out of
list.
mind, brother.
Yeah. But you for the most part, you've been able to keep your coordinators in place, and I think that is big for a program, especially when you're not up at the top just running. Kind of like Kirby Smart and Nick Saban were, where they could. It doesn't matter.
Kirby Smart's dead. We said it last episode.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's going. he's not making a bowl. That's right. But yeah, I do think it's big to have that camaraderie and just the familiarity. I think that's.
I couldn't say that word yesterday. Funny enough.
Yeah, killing.
Still
me.
can't. Won't try.
With your coaches, especially when you have a bunch of veterans in that team, I think that just helps. You don't really miss a beat because you have probably so many coaches within the roster with guys like Amari Thomas and Squirrel White and Brew McCoy, guys that have been here for a while, kind of know what's expected and they're able to pass that along.
Yeah. Agree with that. I've liked also the few Tennessee has had to replace has seemed to kind of go your way. Worked fine. Another strength I wanted to mention, and it's a question mark, but I think they're again going similar to offensive line. I think there are aspects of it that will be good and look promising for you, and that's the linebacking group. I often joke that I think the DBs. I think I've joked about this before Jeremy Pruitt was a coach. Just seems like that for whatever reason, Tennessee can't get that unit as a whole right. There's been bright spots here and there, but for whatever reason, the unit can't get right. I do mean I think this linebacking group gets better. Obviously, losing Aaron Beasley's tough. I know Keenan Pili was on this roster last year, but I consider that a gain. That's a big gain. You get a ton of talent back. Maybe not as experienced as Beasley, but you get a ton of talent back. I think there'll be rotational aspects that'll be really, really strong in this group. I think as a whole, when you're talking a 60-minute game, this group just is better than it was last year. And I think they are a better group, and it can be a massive strength for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and Elijah Herring going in the portal definitely hurts some depth. But, I think that's going to be a common thing with teams. Like, guys aren't just sitting there if they're not playing.
Right.
They're going to go in the portal and see what they can get, see what they can do, see if they want to play. And, part of me hates the portal for that, and part of me loves the portal for that.
Because you get some of those guys that maybe should have been sitting somewhere else, and it's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like the linebackers, like Keenan Pili, Arion Carter. I think that's a guy that really flashed last year, dealt with some injuries. Caleb Perry's another guy, Jeremiah Telander. I'm interested to see who starts opposite of Keenan.
Yeah.
And then I think it'll be Carter or Telander. And then, who's ever not, they've done I don't know what William Inge is going to do, but in the past they've kind of switched guys in and out where you don't have an instance like you did last year at receiver where those guys might not have been ready. There was, stuff was just not right. You miss a route, you miss a block because you didn't know the play, or you miss a sign, whatever. Like that stuff can't happen. And so having a guy like Edwin Spillman kind of push these guys at linebacker, I think is big. And yeah, I kind of like what you see at linebacker. I think it is better. It's just unproven, kind of like you were saying.
Yeah. I think I guess I should make sure I make it clear. I don't know as far as strength. I don't know if this is going to be like a real how much. Like I don't know the level of benefit it gives this defense. I think they're better than last year, and I think talent wise they have the ability to be a strength. And I am curious to see how it shakes out. Also, I'd like to know, and I don't know if this was a John Murray thing. I don't know. I felt like they did a bad job of riding the hot hand. They had their packages. They had who they wanted in certain. So many times you would look out there and Aaron Beasley's not on the field, and he's by far playing the best. And I get he's not going to play every snap, but too many times in Aaron Beasley's career, did you look out there and you're thinking, it'd be really nice to have him on the field right now.
Yeah, it was just like it was scripted on like you're getting this drive, you're getting that drive.
Yeah.
And you're like, probably could use like our best defender.
Yeah. I'd really like him on this, 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And sometimes you're limited in those substitutions because of the offense. So I get that too. But I don't know if that's a Tim Banks thing. I don't know if that was a Brian John Murray thing. I don't know if that's a Josh Heupel thing. He is the head guy in charge, but I don't love that way of doing things all the time. We've talked about with running back. Don't necessarily love it. There are some aspects of it you like. That sometimes you just want to see the best guy playing no matter what.
Yeah, it's like 3rd and 1. You're like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd really like my all SEC running back in right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or my all SEC linebacker in, depending if I'm playing defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not willing to call the running backs a strength. I feel like at running back.
Not yet. It's kind of the same reason I'm not willing to call quarterback a strength yet.
Yeah.
Show it to me. I think there's talent there, but show it to me.
I just think like that's losing Jalen Wright. That's going to be tough to fill. Now I know Dylan Sampson is talented as all get out, but you can't just have one guy at running back anymore.
I was about to say, I think it's more about replacing the two of them. Jalen Wright obviously is a tough replacement. Yeah. I think it's more about replacing both of them. That is the more difficult part, in my opinion. Because I think you could.
And who's the second guy? Because Cam Selton's hurt right now. Like, when is he back?
Yeah.
What is his kind of when he is back? What's his pitch count look like? What is who's the third guy? Is it Deshaun Bishop? Is it Peyton Lewis, who is coming in? Didn't even go through spring practice. That's a weakness for me right now, just because I just don't know. Because you're one. I mean, sprained ankle away from being in a world of hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
And I guess you can say that with a number of positions because of, especially offensive line, which I know in the orange and white game, I don't know if you saw any offensive lineman in the 1 or 2 deep because they had them basically off to the side. Just, hey, like, don't do anything, please. Don't play don't pick up a basketball. No, don't even lift. Don't even look at a weight.
See, I don't like that. I think you just beat them all with a baseball bat and get all the injuries out of the way right now and just call it a day. Like you can't tear your ACL twice in a year, right? Let's just do it now.
Let's get it over with.
Yeah. Comment from Timothy Stoner here. That's a cool name. Our D-line will absolutely be the best unit in the country, maybe our best D-line unit in the history of UT football. I know that's big praise, but I'm feeling great about that unit. It is. I want to go back to more recent history and something we talked about. First off, they will be one of the top D-lines in the country. I do not disagree with that. But more recent history, go back to 2016. I think comparing those two teams, you mentioned that, Derek Barnett, Corey Vereen, I think the level at which this defensive line impacts each game, night in, night out, is based on the guy opposite of James Pierce. Yeah. If you have a Corey Vereen type season like you mentioned, in that whoever that guy is or that pair of guys, that will be by far and away the best D-line in the country. And because we know we have on the interior, we talked about that. If that guy's good, guys are good, that will be a very good defensive line. And Timothy Stoner may be right about it being one of the best in the school history.
Yeah. I just love how in 4 years, this be Josh Heupel's fourth?
This will be the fourth.
Yeah. fourth.
I can
We
count.
went from defensive line being a
Big
huge
old-
weakness.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically non-existent to, like Timothy was saying, one of the best in the country.
To be fair, we did fire the guy in charge of them in the middle of the game. I mean,
we did.
let's
They were not given a great opportunity.
yeah. So
Also, their previous head coach had no clue what asparagus was. So, I mean, it was just a losing battle for those guys. Glad they made some money in college, I guess, before NIL was a thing. But yeah, just not a great developer. And was it Brumball? Was that who it was?
yeah, it's Jimmy Brumball.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sick. Yeah, let's fire the defensive line guy when our quarterback's throwing 3 picks.
Did anyone ever even get fired in the middle of a last chance U game? That you expected people to get. I don't remember a mid-game firing, but it happened at the University of Tennessee during
Bobby
Jeremy
Bruce got
Pruitt's.
fired.
Not players. Yes, many. I mean, countless.
Yeah, a lot of those players.
That Greyhound station was working overtime on Saturday nights in East Mississippi and Independence, Kansas. I mean, they were just shipping them back home.
One of my favorite things about Last Chance U is in the Buddy Stevens East Mississippi ones. He kicks a mom out of the game, and the defensive lineman goes all the way through the back of the end zone, finds his mom when they're walking her out and being like, "Hey, you stand right here."
Yeah.
In the middle of the game, just runs through the end zone and tells his mom to stay right there. So I just think that's incredible.
There are so many wild aspects of that story. The fact that a coach found a security guard and was like, kick her out in the middle of the game.
Yeah,
is one wild aspect.
Oh, and Buddy Stevens asked the defensive lineman, he's like, "Is that your mom? Can you please tell her to be quiet?"
Which, by the way, I hate Buddy Stevens. Don't disagree with that sentiment.
Yeah. But I was like, instead of kicking her out, could you tell her just to go back to her seat? I feel like it's weird that no one has said anything to this lady when she's just standing literally at the wall, right next to the players.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
JUCO football is wild. It's a different wild.
It is. It is. God, where are we at?
We were
talking about just defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, any other strengths you want to mention, or I guess anything else about this Tennessee roster team going into 2024?
Not anything else. I mean, secondary. I guess when Josh Heupel's here, I guess secondary is always going to be a question mark. I don't know that for sure. It's just seems like year in and year out, it's if we can just have a good secondary. But, I mean, looking at the roster this year, it's like if the secondary can be good, really, Tennessee has a great chance to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think that's the only, position I'm worried about. I think there's question marks with some others, but worried is secondary. Now, I think they could be more talented. They've done a nice job in the portal getting some guys, but they weren't good last year, and then just playing even younger guys it makes me a little on edge when it comes to the secondary. But hopefully Jacoby Thomas, Jermod McCoy, Jalen McMurray out of the portal, and then a bunch of young guys another year. I think hopefully that's the perfect formula. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is an exciting group. And you mentioned playoffs. It's a little bit easier to get there because of the expansion.
Yeah.
And so you just
the good thing with
get in there and win, baby.
With the secondary worry, what helps that is what we've been talking about, the defensive line.
Yes, that's a big eraser on that. Yeah. Makes it a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a question about football real quick, so I'll go ahead and get to that. So it's from All Vol Everything. He says, what player do you want to see have a breakout season in football not named Nico? And then what Vol Twitter account typically has the best takes in your opinion?
Breakout player. I think you mentioned the guy I want to see be incredibly successful, Dylan Sampson. And I want to see his ride. Like when he's hot, just let the man run. That boy's from Baton Rouge. He can play 60 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that one. That's a good one. I want to give somebody just like kind of off the wall, but not too off the wall where I'm completely wrong either. I'll go Jeremiah T-Lander.
Love that one.
Yeah, I'll go Jeremiah T-Lander. Also think like whoever is opposite of James Pierce, I hope it's that guy.
Yes. Yeah, that too. Jeremiah T-Lander, that's a fun cat to watch play.
Yeah.
I love his kind of reckless abandon. Would love to see it get under a little bit more control because that means he's just playing smart football. But at the same time, give me a guy that's flying around 100% all the time, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean that's every football coach ever is just like, I'd rather you make a mistake going 110% than standing around. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
go make a play. I mean, with this. I feel like with our offense, the way it should be humming, hopefully, like you can afford to be aggressive as a unit defensively.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I agree. I mean, I've said that often with making turnovers. Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Give me the ball.
I would rather see us play aggressive and get burned on a 3rd and 14 than us sit back and we'll get burned on a 3rd and 14.
Yeah.
So definitely be more aggressive, please. Best takes on. I'm sorry, man. I wish I could give you an answer. I'll say all Vol. I don't know who all. I'm sorry. I'm probably familiar with your account. I've probably seen it. Name doesn't ring a bell. But we'll just go with you if that's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah.
All you all are my favorites.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of all times our good friend Kevin Vallone.
Yeah, I definitely have some favorite accounts that tweet out funny memes, just tweet out funny things that I don't know if I'd call them takes.
I guess that's true.
But yeah, Kevin Valone's a good one.
Honestly, I don't even know I don't really know if I tweet out a bunch of takes, but I wouldn't even say I enjoy my takes. So I don't know if I can
just take it for the sake of taking at this point.
Yeah, just got to put out some content just to see what happens.
Yeah, just something will stick.
But I mean, like media guys, like I
yeah, if we're factoring in that.
Yeah, I like some of the guys that's been on the show. Ben McKee.
Who's that guy from 247? Is it Ben? No, it's Ben. It's Ben. Yeah, I love Ben's takes.
Yeah. Ben, Eric Kane does a good job.
Yeah.
Ron Shumpert's one of our good buddies. Mike Wilson's been on the show a couple times. So any of those guys.
Yeah, if we are going takes, this weekend he's had some fun insights. Ryan is a good one. It was a really good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those three do a good job they do a great job of covering baseball, but they do other sports as well. But I really pay attention to them during baseball season, and during basketball season too. They do a good job. Football is such a blur for us. I feel like it feels like we only have one game that week, but it feels like it takes the other 6 days of planning that one day.
Yeah.
Or maybe 5 days, and then Sunday is a recover day.
Yeah.
So,
any other football related deals?
Yes, we got one more.
Okay.
Nealon Mafia 2.0 says, after the orange and white game, does Nico stand any chance of reclaiming the starting spot from Gaston Moore, or has that ship sailed for the year?
I love this question. But here's the thing. Unless we get into COVID again and this 2024 season gets pushed back to the spring somehow, Nico's in safe hands. Gaston Moore is he's a spring quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a fall guy. I don't hate it. I don't respect it. technically the football season starts in the summer. I don't want to play in that heat either, brother.
Yeah.
I get it. I respect it and I like it. He'll go to weddings in the fall. Gaston Moore will. But he will not attend your wedding in the spring.
Honestly, if we had Kirby Smart to convince Gaston Moore that every game was an orange and white game, I don't think he loses the job ever.
No.
Now, I don't know if we could get Kirby Smart to do that. I mean, he is great convincing his teams that they're an underdog in every game and that no one believes in them.
Yep.
With all those 5 stars. But I think that would be the only way to make sure Gaston Moore plays in every single orange and white game.
Right.
Also, could he play every home game? Because technically that would be an orange and white game.
Good point. That's a good
Color-wise.
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
Or maybe
I wouldn't call Gaston Moore a road dog.
Yeah. He could play at LSU.
He could, yeah, that's right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Or Texas away. He could probably play at Texas.
Do they wear white often? I thought that was just like a once a year thing.
Who?
Oh, you're actually talking about their orange. Because didn't they wear white? Was that for the Bama game they wore white?
Oh, did they?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I remember them wearing white recently. And then I think someone told me they do it every once in a while.
I don't know. I feel like they play like at a neutral site game in their same state, and it's basically a home game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good point. Yeah. Timothy also said, I've got a lot of respect for Moore sticking it out here like he is or has. I'll say I wanted to read that because, and I think to a lesser degree, number one, kids, listen up. Some of you may be D1 material. You may be a D1 star. But if you have the chance to be a backup quarterback in the SEC, you take that chance and you cling to life for it. A backup quarterback at a big-time program is the best job of all time. You ask any quarterback what the dream is, it's QB2 in the NFL.
Because every time the starting quarterback makes a mistake, guess who they're chanting for?
You're the hero, brother.
Yeah.
You're the hero. But I did want to mention, I think Gaston Moore just also is like, hey, I'm here. I'm happy. I don't need to be the starter. I'm comfortable in my role. I'm good. And I think that's something on a serious note, I think that is something that's missing in all this transfer portal. Everyone's looking to be the guy, and not everyone's looking to be a guy on a team. And I feel like guys like Gaston Moore just get that not everyone's supposed to be the guy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a culture thing too.
Yeah.
Having, those same guys that he's been around, Joey Halsley, Josh Heupel forever, even before Tennessee. So I think there's a good chance that Gaston Moore is probably still here next year, probably in a coaching role of some sort.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I think he's just racking up, the amount of years he's been with Josh Heupel. And so just having like a clone version of Josh Heupel in a few years, Gaston Moore, I think that's perfect for when, we're on this run of winning national championships after national championship. Then when Josh Heupel finally makes the decision to retire, we have
it's Gaston
Moore. Yeah.
And coaches in the spring games.
Yes. Yeah.
I would love to see a coach get a guy like Gaston Moore and just be like, listen, I'm not saying you're not great, but you're going to come here and be our backup quarterback. That means you may play, but I want you to stay our backup quarterback. I'll put you to graduate school for free.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a coaching job if you just stay here for 4 years, 5 years, my backup quarterback. I'd love that. That'd be awesome. Talk about just building the next generation of coaches.
I think we should have made that deal with the NCAA. We should have been like, all right, we'll take a little bit more scholarship reductions if we can go ahead and sign this waiver for Gaston Moore to be on our roster for 4 or 5 more years.
Agreed.
Yeah, great questions, by the way. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys. Let's move on. Let's head down to Florida, unfortunately, but also fun. I mean, we just went down there listen, Joey Boots is an experienced guy. He knows how this goes. We went down there like spring breakers going to Panama City or Daytona Beach. We had our fun. We destroyed stuff. We came back. It was just another spring break trip.
Yeah, I mean, what a job by Tennessee's pitching staff. Obviously, Tony Vitello wins in the state of Florida. He just does.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
But yeah, just getting that going. Losing that game on Tuesday was not fun. I'm sure being on the team, losing that game was not fun. I'm sure the day after being on that team, it was not fun. Traveling down to Gainesville is never fun. Getting to Gainesville is definitely not fun. We've been there. So I feel like it was kind of a wake-up call. And then you have the rain. I mean, it just felt like everything was going to go against Tennessee in this series. Bats aren't producing well. You just lost to Lipscomb, who isn't a good baseball team at all. Still kind of dealing, Kavaris Tears was dealing with an injury. You get one game. You have one game where it gets rained out. You have to move it, play a doubleheader, 9 innings on Friday, early Friday, and then later Friday you'd play another 9 innings. So it just seems like it was set up for not to go Tennessee's way. And you take game 1, you're like, all right, guys, we're good. We're good. We're back.
We're out ahead of it, yeah.
And then you kind of let one slip away in that the second game on Friday, just not giving Drew Beam a whole lot of help there. And it was a rough couple days for the bottom of that lineup. Well, especially Friday. Friday was really bad.
Right.
But then Saturday, you had a guy really step up in the bottom of your lineup, and Hunter Inslee, and just get things going for you. I think he put Tennessee on the board first, and then he gave him a lead with a 2-run double, and then he hit the 3-run home run to kind of just blow it open, and just kind of took down Florida, not on his own, but
kind of.
He hit 7 RBIs. Florida only had 3 runs, so he did a really good job of giving this team a boost. And that 6th inning was just, when it rains, it pours. And Jack Caglione didn't hit a single home run in this series, and then didn't have a loss on the mound coming into it. And
wow,
was able to.
I didn't know that stat.
Yeah, to give him his first loss and keep him without a home run on the weekend. So, pretty solid job from Tennessee in the weekend to get the series. Again, Florida's a good, talented baseball team. They just can't put it all together. And, when things get going like they did in the 6th inning, they tend to lay down. And that's exactly what happened yesterday.
Yeah, you started to say they're a good team. They should be a good team, but they're not for whatever reason. I don't know if we know a lot of Tennessee teams don't see a best player, especially a standout player on a not so great team, and don't let them just do some damage to you. So I love to see that as a Tennessee fan. It's not a common theme that not only did you beat them, but you also didn't let their best player have anything. And a guy that's had plenty this season. I mean, you're talking about one of the best players in college baseball. That's massive. I think you mentioned that loss to Lipscomb. I'm sure it wasn't fun, but it just proved a point farther of, number one, midweek baseball is just different. It's weird. You'd like to win them all. You don't usually do, even though they're against lesser opponents. This team's good. They deserve some grace. If you lose to Florida, that grace is gone for that loss, but they didn't. And this is a really good baseball team. You mentioned it Thursday. You were really like, okay, things aren't going to go our way.
Yeah, it was just.
This is not going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after about what was that game ended 5:35, and you're like, all right, take a deep breath, kind of step back. Things are good. And Friday night, like you said, it sucked for a host of reasons. Just not a great showing. But for whatever reason, I had this going into Saturday. You were like, we're fine. Like this team's gonna win a rubber match. We're good.
Yeah,
and
we
that
do
might
it all
have
the time.
been
We must love them.
Yeah. And it might have been a little bit of a false confidence thing where I'm just like, I believe in the Vols. I believe in Xander Sechrist. But it was like, I just felt fine going into Saturday. I don't know if I would have felt that way if you lose that first one on Friday. I don't think I would have been like, you have 2 games ahead of you. You're fine. Get it under your belt. So getting that first one out of the way really did kind of let me step back, take a breath, and just feel like, you're good. Go get the win. You're fine. And then I did not expect it to be a 7-inning affair with Hunter Inslee, dog. Christian Moore, dog. And then let's talk about Blake Burke's bat flip. The most, I don't give an F. I'm not here to rub it in your face. I just dropped my bat because I absolutely murdered that baseball.
Yeah.
And I love the old heads can talk about quit showing off, quit dancing going to first. The man didn't carry his bat out of the batter's box. He dropped it as soon as possible. I thought that's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he finished his swing before he dropped the bat, and it was filthy.
Yeah.
So you can all S my D.
He basically played hot potato with it. As soon as the ball hit the bat, it was just like, oh God, it's hot.
That was that bat was hot.
Yep.
That was a clean bat flip. What's your rating? Have you rated it yet? Do you want to break the news here, or do you want to tweet it out later? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Moment counts. Florida on the road counts. Back-to-back counts. That's 9.1.
9.1? Okay. Let me ask you this. Take all the moments out of it. How do you rate the bat flip alone?
Have you seen Varsity Blues?
Yeah, I don't know what you're about to reference just asking me that, but yeah, I've seen it.
You know when Miss Davis does the dance for the guys at the strip club?
Yeah, I know Miss Davis.
And Billy Bob was like, I give it a 10. A 10.
Oh, wait, why'd it go down to 9.1?
You got to take the game was already in hand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you liked a little more.
Well, and you got to be like
bat flip.
Like 10 is the Drew Gilbert one. That's 10.
That's fair.
So I think that is a solid 9.1.
Okay. That's fair in terms of moment. I think this was pure bat flip. I'm with you. I think this is probably one of the better ones of all time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Bat flip alone.
It's just like that. That's just his style. Like when a bat flip, like it kind of has to fit your style.
It does, yeah.
And so Drew Gilbert's was a lot more showy. He would carry it down the line a little bit.
Burke is kind of just like, yep, I did that.
Tomahawk throw.
Oh, his feels more like a drop the mic most of the time.
Yeah, and
than a throw to me.
And I love Christian Moore's like they started that game off with just a stupid rule. I mean, I think the umpires understand it's a stupid rule, which that would make me think like, why did you call it then? But I guess like rule book, it's technically right, but it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I have a lot of questions, and I don't know in terms of what the rule book says. It's just I don't know how he's expected to give way from his position.
Yeah, I mean, there's no
because if that ball if it's a grounder to short, that doesn't happen because the ball's not thrown in the baseline. Like that collision doesn't happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like every time there's a collision, I feel like they have to call something.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly dumb. The rule needs to be changed. And then I feel like Tony Vitello was livid. And I feel like he didn't get tossed because I think everybody else knew like how stupid that rule is. So they're like, I agree with you, but
I can't believe he calmed down from that.
Yeah.
That was one of the more
I think it would have been a lot different, but like they just called him out. They didn't.
Right.
If they would have tossed him, I feel like Tony Vitello's like, okay, he's not the only one getting tossed in this dugout.
I'm kind of shocked he didn't get tossed because I mean those were, I think maybe the definition of antics. There was a lot of running around in Vitello's mind. It was very animated. It was I'll show you this.
I think
bend over.
That might be why they're like, Tony, we know it's a stupid rule.
But I mean, like that was one of the more black outrages I've ever seen of his. Because you see some stuff that's very like, it looks very like calculated. Like he's like, I know what I'm going to say to this umpire.
Well, the umpire, like he stuck his chest up, like he knew he was about to get chest bumped.
that home plate umpire looked like the biggest prick during all of that. I think it was the guy on third who would be the head of the crew, correct, at that point?
Yes. That
kind of came out and started to try to like calm things down. But the home plate looked like a prick.
Yeah.
Like I'm also shocked he didn't toss him because he looked like he was ready to show someone up right then and there.
Agreed.
But yeah, it was I would love to hear Tony's take on that because I don't know if he could remember anything that happened there because I think it was mostly black outrage.
Yeah, for sure.
Which you love sometimes.
For sure. Trying to think what else. I mean, Kavares Tears got back in the lineup as a DH. I think that's good to see. I mean, Tennessee's got to figure out. Hunter Inslee's in the lineup now. He solidified himself. Career high 7 RBIs in yesterday's game, 3 for 4. Tennessee's got to figure out what they're going to do at that other outfield spot. Or when Tears is back in the outfield, who's going to play DH? But they can't have all these strikeouts. I mean, Dalton Margot had 3 strikeouts in one game. Reese Chapman had 3 strikeouts in another game. And then you had Robin Villeneuve, who had 3 strikeouts in one. Like, they can't find somebody to just like give them some kind of production out of that spot. Like, I feel like a lot of people's gotten some looks at that. Like, everybody's got an opportunity, but I don't know. I mean, Timothy Stoner said like Bargo looked good while Amick was out, and now he can't hit. And it's one thing to like not being able to hit for average and then striking out with like the bases loaded or just whiffing and not even being close on 3 pitches like it seemed like Villeneuve was. I mean, that's tough. I'd like to see somebody kind of step up. I think Colby Backus has kind of earned that, but I know he had kind of a fielding blunder there and then struck out, so they put somebody else in. But yeah, they need to find somebody. Could it be Cannon Peebles at DH at some point? Maybe. Yeah, I'd like to see him get going, but they just don't really have an option right now at that other outfield spot while Kavares Tears is still, dealing with an injury.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Man, 11 runs in a 6th inning. That is that's a tough scene. To be outscored in 1 inning than more runs than you scored in the whole series. Just a tough one.
Yeah, that was a fun little stat you tweeted out there.
Yeah, just hate to see it from old Florida. Sully, poor guy. He didn't get any taller this weekend either.
Never forget the story that came out about him and some dude's wife. That was crazy. You can look it up yourself.
Yeah, that's.
Speaking of wild stories, have we found out who Schlossnagel, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Texas A&M accused of cheating? I guess he claims that he's not accusing because it's been proven, just hadn't come out yet. Have we verified that?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
You haven't heard the story? He said after I think he was on a radio show, and I'm assuming they were talking about what happened with the Georgia pitcher that weekend in the bullpen. He said there was a team that was running a live stream of the game, they had their TV on in the dugout, and it just hadn't come out yet. But they were batting they're batting 319 at home and like 200 on the road or something. And people had matched it up with who it could have been. But it wasn't clear exactly what he was talking about. Was he talking about TrackMan stats? Was he talking about the actual game itself?
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. You didn't see any of that, really?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I know what you're talking about with the Georgia pitcher, but yeah, I didn't see anything.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked more into it, so I don't know if anything's come of it.
Yeah.
But well, obviously good to get that series win. Midweek is Queens.
Yeah.
New York.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who they're from?
Mm-hmm.
What an interesting midweek. They drive.
God, I hope not.
Well, and then we go on the road to Nashville.
Yeah, after
Bury Tim Corbin.
After Vanderbilt got their teeth kicked in by Georgia this weekend.
Bury him. I feel like he's like one more just Tennessee ass kicking away from just shitting his pants. It's like the old grumpy man he is. And I would love nothing more than to find out Tim Corbin had to leave the dugout to change his underwear.
Yeah, check your underwear, not our bats.
Yeah.
If we could just make sure we got all the stickers as we go up to bat, that'd be awesome.
Please.
But yeah, let's go to Nashville and just beat the crap out of them.
Would love nothing more. Nothing more.
I did want to talk about the kind of outlook right now with like where everything kind of stands. So Tennessee's one game out of the East, one game out of the SEC. Kentucky was able to beat Arkansas to keep that lead on Tennessee this weekend. But who's going to be number one tomorrow?
Yeah, we had a question about that too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Sort of, I guess, because we're not at the end of the season.
Yeah, Kevin Ballone says, shout out. He said, do we want to be number one overall entering the postseason to try to break the curse? Let's start with this. Do you want to be number one tomorrow? I'm in the camp where like I don't care. Like if we're number one, cool. Is Tennessee playing like the number one team in the country? I don't know, but I don't think anybody else is either. So it's weird. Like you have a really good kind of group up at the top of really good baseball teams, but no one is that clear cut number one team. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I mean I agree with that.
I think Tennessee's just winning games as other teams are losing, so they are going to be number one by default, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Tennessee's kind of just been churning for sure. I know midweek games aren't heavily weighted. I feel like if Tennessee doesn't drop Lipscomb, they are probably number one tomorrow. I don't know how much of that factors in because, like you said, there's other teams that are there.
Yeah,
that have a claim to it.
Yeah, like Texas A&M lost, Arkansas lost, so you would think Tennessee would just move up. But Tennessee is like 8th in the RPI, which, guys, who gives a rat's ass about the RPI? Why do we still look at that?
We have to just have some kind of stat to say which team numbers say is better. We just have to. It's just our human nature. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, how in the world is Georgia 13-11 in the conference and they're number 5 RPI? That makes zero sense. I mean, 2 of the teams up here, Tennessee's beaten. They beat Georgia and they beat number 1 in the RPI, Kentucky. And Kentucky's on the road.
That right there just kind of discredits the RPI for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Those that we're done. I'm done even considering RPI. Yeah. It's interesting. Now, I mean, Tennessee has a claim to number 1. As far as being the number 1 overall seed, you got to win all the games anyways. Do it at number 1, do it at number 2, do it at number 8. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to like be the team that breaks that curse, but
yeah, you got to do it from some position. So I don't care. Sure, I'm not a fan of trying to break curses. I've been through, feel like a lot of them as a Tennessee fan, and I don't know how many of them have truly been broken yet. But yeah, you got to do it from any position. I don't mind, but being number one's not an accomplishment by any means. It's cool. Tennessee was number one for a week in 2022, and it kind of sucked because of who you had to play that week in football. It's still fun. Nothing to hang your hat on. Doesn't matter. Nobody else is going to remember it. So kind of who cares? But also, it is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You're also kind of boosting that Queens when they come in here to be the number one team. They're like, hey, they did it last week.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, give one to the good guys of Lipscomb in the state of Tennessee. Let them win over the eventual number one team that week.
Right.
Like they beat Tennessee in the same week they were number one.
Yeah. But Tennessee just keeps winning. I mean, it hasn't been pretty in some games, but, I think their pitching is getting better. And the lineup, it has some off days sometimes, but they also have games where they can score 11 runs in an inning. So, I mean, the talent is there. It's just got to be put together. And, if they're able to stay healthy, here's the thing. If they're the number one overall team going into the postseason, they've absolutely beat the crap out of Vanderbilt and South Carolina the next 2 weekends. So I'm all for it.
I'm in.
I'm all for it. Yeah, solid weekend, and we'll just keep churning along. If we're number one, cool. If not, then I guess we'll just keep winning until they have no choice to make us number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any more questions, or we good?
I don't have anything else.
All right, guys, go check out Rowback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. They have great polos, hoodies, Q-zips, T-shirts, shorts, pants, joggers, whatever you need, they got it. So go check them out at Rowback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. Stupidity.
Rowback. Get into it.
Most important. Sorry.
My first one. So we mentioned Lady Vols winning the SEC championship. Did you see how they did their first pitch today for Senior Day?
Huh.
All the dads threw out the first pitch to their daughters on Senior Day.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. It's very neat. Neat move. I don't know if that's been a thing before that Tennessee's done. First time I've seen it. Very cool. Shout out to them. Shout out to the dads.
Shout out. My most important is I gotta say Kim Caldwell.
Okay.
Portal queen.
Okay.
I mean, she keeps laying them out of the portal. She landed Arkansas point guard, who averaged 14 points per game. I think 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. So she keeps landing them out of the portal, and I think this is shaping up to have a pretty good roster next year. Whereas a couple weeks ago, I was like, yikes. But yeah, she's doing. I think she's doing well. I think people are excited to play in her system. It's kind of like Josh Heupel. They're like, oh, man, I get to score this many touchdowns. I'm in. Just like wide receivers. They're lining up to come play receiver at Tennessee. Georgia's going to get their fair share because they're winning. But at the end of the day, would you rather score more touchdowns, more catches, more yards? Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yep. So
I love it.
I'm going to Kim. Our Kim is better than your Kim, LSU.
She had a rough week.
She is just rough. Like that. She just looked awful.
I mean, I hope that bender she was on before that photo was a hell of a bender, because you looked like you might have enjoyed it, or you went through hell. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it genuinely.
Yeah.
Drink some water.
Yeah. They should do a before and after picture of her coaching Angel Reese.
Yeah. Rough one.
Hate to see it. Yeah. She looked like she was straight out of a scary movie.
Yeah. That I didn't believe it was her. I thought, no way was that her.
That picture is altered.
Yeah, that was tough scene. Staying with the Lady Vols for our next most important. It's Allie Howard. It's the Lady Vols soccer program. They get a big commitment out of Memphis, Tennessee, staying in state. The last name Howard. While we're talking about soccer, sounds familiar. It's because yes, she is Tim Howard's daughter. Tim Howard, kind of a big deal. Made a lot of saves as the goalkeeper of the United States. She does the opposite. She scores goals.
Even I know who Tim Howard is. So.
I was curious. I was like, I think everyone knows, but I don't know if everyone knows. So, okay. So, I was going to ask you that. Like, do you know, like, what position he played even?
Yeah, goalie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm obviously I care more so about soccer than,
well, I mean, it's average American to like you and Dylan, like when the World Cup, I guess he was in the World Cup a couple years ago, correct?
Yeah. His last one was in 20. Well, his last one probably would have played in 2018, but we didn't make it. The last one was 2014.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember like watching it with you guys.
Okay. So yeah, but I feel like the people I've asked that don't care about soccer have known who he was, but I was curious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how Tim Howard exactly ended up in Memphis. I know in Memphis. He's from New Jersey. He's lived in Memphis for quite some time and now is in the ownership group for their USL team. I don't know how he got there. If he got there because he decided to get ownership in it, I don't know. But anyways, he lives there. His daughter went to Briarcrest Christian. She's now committed to Tennessee, and we got he's wearing Tennessee orange for her Instagram drop from Tim Howard. So that's exciting. Tim Howard is a stud athlete and goalkeeper. And that's gonna bring some excitement to some Friday nights in Knoxville, Sunday afternoons.
Gotcha. My next one is going to be Jordan Beck, VFL, making his major league debut, and his first swing as a Colorado Rocky was a single up the middle.
Love it.
And just dogs, just a bunch of dogs. They're going to be. It's going to be fun in the next few years where you like have a ton of Tennessee players spread out throughout the majors.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
I also love how true to himself he stays. He, you saw him rocking he's still wearing the outfits. He had the very much beachy Miami vibe as he got off the team bus when he got there. You just love to see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it a Flintstones shirt?
I think it was dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about this one. Did you see the college summer ball team, the Tri-City Chili Peppers? They're going to play a cosmic baseball game under black lights with glow-in-the-dark uniforms. Sounds dangerous. I can't see at night already.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, in theory, kind of sounds sick, but someone may die. And that's a chance you wanted to take.
Maybe they make the ball softer. I don't know if that – it's still going to hurt, but –
I feel like that's something you do for like one at bat. And maybe the guy isn't actually in the box. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, all right, this at bat, we're gonna turn off all the lights. Good luck.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, so yeah, maybe a fail more than anything. Does kind of look sick. Hey, look, that's one of our ideas. Great idea. In practice, there's a reason we're not doing it.
Yeah. I don't have any more. Most important. Joey, do you have any most importance? If you're still in here, do you have any more, Caleb?
It was just gonna be Kim Mulkey, so.
Oh, okay.
Or fail. Those are fail.
Okay.
I don't have any fails other than that.
Gotcha.
I didn't have. Well, it was gonna be Mike Concho, but
okay.
You golfed 5 days in a row last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
You got the bug.
I know. I'm all in. I'm tired. I feel like an old man today, but I'm enjoying it. I love golf. Huge golf guy.
I thought about quitting forever today, so I'm glad you're loving it.
I mean, every round I'm like, why do I play this game?
No,
and
it
then
kinda sucks if you get, like,
and then when
good.
you're done, you're like, man, I hit that 40-foot putt today. I'm going back tomorrow.
You're just chasing that feeling of that flushed iron that like somehow got 10 feet from the pin. You're just like, dude, I'll do anything to feel that feeling in my hand again.
Yeah, I think the iron. I'm to the point where the iron feeling is way better than the driver feeling.
That's a good feeling to have. Like a flushed, like just center of the face.
Yeah,
Maybe a nice little divot, too. Little beaver tail.
Our friend Wes, who I was playing with the majority of this week, when I hit like a really good iron, he always says, I like that. So when I hit it like good and kind of like look up and he says that, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
That's awesome. I love it.
All right, fails.
Kim Mulkey. That's it. Just in general, actually.
I have Jim Jones getting in a fight at the airport. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, I mean, he basically just like on the escalator, just the down escalator, just like basically picks up a guy and throws him into like two more guys and they fall down. There's an old guy just laying at the bottom, just looks lifeless. And he's like fighting off these two guys. It's a mess.
Did they say why?
No, all I got was the TMZ video. That's all I got was
Okay.
them two fighting.
Interesting.
And it was like it seemed like an old man. He had like the George Jefferson haircut.
Dude.
But yeah, he was just like fighting Jim Jones and like, yeah, he was bleeding after, but he wasn't just like getting destroyed either. So
it's kind of a cool story.
Yeah.
It's like I got my ass beat by
I feel like an escalator is probably one of the worst places to get in a fight, even if you win.
Yeah, it's like there's nowhere to go.
Metal
like,
stairs.
One wrong step, like you're in a world of hurt.
Dude, he absolutely. I mean, the old guy's been on the ground for about 2 minutes now.
Yeah, are you watching it?
I'm watching it right now.
It's crazy.
That one dude that just walks past it, incredibly casual for the situation at hand.
The old guy just got swept in the legs and just somehow kept getting beaten on, like, not even on purpose.
Yeah,
I guess it looks like Paul Feinbaum is.
Maybe it was.
Security's walking incredibly casual to it as well.
They've probably seen this a few too many times.
I would like to know how this escalated, if you will.
Yeah, I want to know more about it, but
the suplex down the stairs was crazy. I mean, that's a full man toss.
Yeah,
I like it though. Let's keep that energy in the airports.
Yeah, people want to complain about TSA. Have you ever been thrown down an escalator by Jim Jones?
We've all wanted to do it. We just know what he ever does.
Yeah. All right. Any more?
I don't know. I saw Tom Brady was doing the roast on Netflix Live or whatever, and had like maybe a 20% of a Will Smith moment. So Jeff Ross made a joke about massages or whatever, and Robert Kraft, and he like walked up to the podium. You could hear hot mic. He's like, "Don't say that shit again," something like that.
Oh,
Tom Brady did. I knew he couldn't do a roast.
Yeah, apparently he's been taking like bad. Like, I feel it's everybody. It's like, dude, you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah. Don't do a roast and say things are off limits. Like,
if someone
you're cool with a roast, you're
roast like pulled something out that like no one knew about or was like super personal, that's one thing. If you get roasted at a roast for something that was like a public scandal or like public knowledge that you've been joked on for before, like, dude,
yeah,
you think he just wasn't gonna say anything?
And people like you, like if you can take that, I think like people are gonna like you a lot more if you can take a joke like that. Like that whole thing is gonna be a lot better because you are able to just take it.
Agreed.
It could cut a little deep, like those roasts they do cut. I get it, but yeah, just take it and move on with your big check that you just got from Netflix for that.
Yeah, but so you're gonna get paid for sure. So
yeah,
suck it up. Go buy some more massages.
Did anybody ask him about him kissing his kids?
I'm sure if it hasn't been asked, it's probably just in the barrel, ready to go.
He's gonna be real mad about that one.
I can't wait for him to argue that it's not weird.
Yeah, that's wild.
By the way, just to be clear, weird period. I would argue weird period. Weird to do on camera, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever you stand on,
knowing that there's a
weird on
camera. It's not even like oops, I got caught on camera. No, there's a documentary crew 6 feet from you or something, like French kissing on a massage bed.
Yeah.
Not a good look. Also, this is the most probably wild picture I've seen. The Zach Bryan and Sexy Red.
Oh yeah, what a combo.
Dude, I'm telling. I mean,
I'm actually going to Zach Bryan on Thursday, so I hope Sexy Red just continues to do the tour with him.
I hope so. Bring her
Who
in.
does show up? Because doesn't he usually try to do people like that?
Yeah, it's like
somewhat
in their hometown.
Yeah.
I don't know
who it is.
I'm going Friday, so we'll see. Maybe
are you going Friday?
Yeah, you gotta let me know how it is.
Heck yeah. Yeah, fired up.
Love it.
All right, guys. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Awesome.
Good.
Appreciate you all.
Yeah.
As always.
Thank y'all for listening. We'll be back next week. Talking more baseball. I'm sure more football because it's year-round sport. Transfer portal still going on in basketball. So stick with us and have a good week. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.